This is your WCIA 3 forecast first, sponsored by Route 66 Solar.
Well, it is 4 o'clock and we are entering the prime time for our severe weather threat here across the region. We've been watching some of those dark skies in the Sangamon County area. That's looking off to the north and west of town where some thunderstorm activity has been moving on through. Currently seeing a number of these storms developing here. I think the next few hours could get a little rough across parts of the area. One of those reasons is temperatures have really popped here. We've hit the upper 60s and low 70s in some spots here. The other thing is dew point values are starting to creep upwards a little bit, starting to see some more mid-50s along and east of I-57. That's crucial for that risk for tornado activity moving forward. Winds have been blustery out here. In fact, McLean, Logan counties, even Sangamon County have had some really intense winds out there. Some of those wind gusts have been over 50, even 60 miles an hour, and that has led to not only the severe threat, but also some blowing dust here across the region. Coming up, we're talking about that severe weather threat. I'll take a look at radar, let you know who is seeing what now and where things are heading. We'll also have updates for the rest of the night and talk about cooler weather into tonight and tomorrow. There could be maybe even a little snow in the picture. Those details are coming up as First News at 4 starts right now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 First News at 4.
Good afternoon and welcome to First News at 4. I'm Karina Rubio. Severe weather is set to once again roll through central Illinois. What should we expect this time around? Let's go back to meteorologist Jacob Dickey to find out. Jacob, what areas are you looking at right now?
Yeah, well, at this point, we're looking mainly towards the I-55 corridor where we have some active warnings in place, but there are strong winds elsewhere. In fact, we just got a report from Willard Airport. 54-mile-an-hour gusts happened there. We don't have any storms in town. Strong winds are already occurring across much of the area here. Let's jump in and talk about some of those specific warnings. Been an active day in Peoria along the Illinois River. A number of tornadoes reported from Pekin into the Peoria metro as well as Delavan. And a tornado warning now in place for far northwestern McLean County and southern Woodford County. That there is being covered by our sister station, WMBD in Peoria. We kind of focus more on the south and east side of I-55. They cover more the north and west side there, and so we're not doing wall-to-wall yet because there's no immediate threat from that in our viewing area. But as that continues, moving up to the north and east, we'll have to keep an eye on Livingston County, maybe far northern Ford and Iroquois counties as well. There are some severe thunderstorm warnings in place also here. We just added McLean County to the board. In McLean County, the strong wind pushing outward is actually blowing up a lot of dust. There's been reports of dust across western and northern parts of the counties, and I expect that to continue. And then further to the south, another severe thunderstorm warning is in place for parts of Logan, Sangamon, Menard, and western DeWitt counties. That one, not looking all that strong at this point north of Springfield. We've been keeping an eye on it, but there are some strong non-thunderstorm winds being reported to the east of Springfield with some light shower activity here. We're going to be keeping a close eye on all of this as we go on through. I do want to mention a little further down, starting to see some strengthening of these individual cells. That's where I think, Karina, we have to watch the next couple of hours here as those move to the north and east. That, to me, stands out as the biggest threat for potential tornado activity here. Not only am I in here, but we've got Seth in the building now covering things. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty is out in the StormTracker. That's a look now. He's been in the Moultrie County area, just left Lovington. And then we've got Adam also helping behind the scenes. One last thing real quick here. Something interesting that came out from the Storm Prediction Center. They gave us a special update to talk about that tornado watch, and they highlighted the eastern parts of our area with the chance for tornadoes to increase through 7 o'clock. They also highlighted areas from Iroquois, Ford County, down through I-74 and south on I-57 to Cumberland and Clark counties, where there could be the potential for a strong tornado or two between now and 7 p.m. We're really in that window of opportunity where things could get a bit active here, Karina, something that we'll certainly be watching as we move through the rest of the afternoon. In the meantime, we're going to stand by here. I know there's some news updates to talk about, Karina. We'll send it over to you, but in an instant, if it's needed, we'll be right back here and on our digital platforms covering these storms through the afternoon and evening today. Karina?
All right, Jacob, thank you so much. All right, a busy day in the studio and out in the StormTracker, Jacob.
Yeah, we've been watching things pretty closely here. We're really in that prime time now from here till about 7 o'clock where storms could get a little active. Currently, we actually have a confirmed tornado northwest of Bloomington on radar. See that pink box over by Hudson and towards El Paso. That's moving to the north and east. We're going to watch and see how far into Livingston County that gets. At this point, we're not wall-to-wall yet, WMBD, our sister station, covers that area more than we do, and they're leading great coverage on digital platforms. We might be close, though, to hitting the digital airwaves and being live on TV here. New severe thunderstorm warnings further to the south. We'll talk about where those storms are now, where they're heading, and more with a check of your forecast after this.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
Well, right now we're keeping an eye on these storms that are moving on through here. Got a number of warnings, but they are so far for our viewing area, severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's why we're holding off on wall-to-wall coverage quite yet here. There is that tornado warning in northern McLean and southeastern Woodford County. That's really towards the edge of our area, really more into the WMBD Peoria television station, our sister station over there. We've been listening to Chris Yates, and he's been doing some great coverage with those storms that have come through the Peoria area. Been a tornado down by Delavon, some more by Mackinac. We had some south and west of Peoria there, and that storm right now starting to bow out a little bit, and there's been a lot of reports of blowing dust. And while there have been some reports of a tornado with this, I tend to think that this storm might be in the weakening phase and more blowing out, and I think that's kicking out more dust in front of it. So that tornado threat for this particular storm maybe wrapping up here momentarily. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning, though, that's been added to the board for Livingston County ahead of that. And the interesting thing about that is that that severe thunderstorm warning does not have what we call a tornado possible tag here. It's just a standard severe thunderstorm warning for the Livingston County area here. And we'll take a look. That's going to be Pontiac and Chatsworth, Fairbury, Forest. It does actually have now the tornado possible tag with that. So they're monitoring that here. But the main thing is the wind that stands out to me. A lot of that bowing out winds likely to bring some big wind towards the Pontiac area before long. Not seeing much in the way of hail with that particular storm as it moves to the north and east. There have been some reports of small hail. I think there's maybe some bigger reports further to the south and west from that. Let's move on down the line here. Southern McLean County now has a severe thunderstorm warning. This is for 60-mile-per-hour gusts. That's basically Bloomington normal down towards Leroy, McLean, and Hayworth here. Kind of that edge of the storm gusting out and pushing a lot of dust up into the areas there. The local EMA has reported that there. And then we come down the line where things starting to look a little more interesting here, in particular with this storm near Mechanicsburg. And with this new severe thunderstorm warning here, this one is moving to the north and east, interested in southeastern Logan, northwestern Macon, southwestern DeWitt, and then eastern Sangamon County here. That severe thunderstorm warning, likely some 70-mile-per-hour winds. Also could be some, there was just some dime-sized hail reported in the Mechanicsburg area, and there may be the chance here that that storm could develop into something. We're going to watch and see that pretty closely here before all is said and done. And there's another severe thunderstorm warning to the north here. That storm's coming to the west side of Lincoln. I think this one's starting to fall apart and fall behind a little bit. More interested in that Mechanicsburg storm. And then we got more storms that are developing, and these here catch my attention perhaps the most out of all of the storms. Currently a severe thunderstorm warning for Shelby County. That's going to be eastern Shelby County, far northwestern Cumberland County, far southwestern Coles County, and southern Moultrie County there. And you can kind of see these little individual cells that are trying to stand out. So far, there's been a lot of interaction between them, and that's been preventing anything from being a more serious threat. But we're going to keep an eye on that. And those storms in particular here, that warning goes, I'll pull up that warning information so we can look at it. That warning there is going to go until 4:45. It has 70-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. Also, a tornado is possible with that one here. And I know some areas down there are a little weary after Friday night where we've had Neoga be hit by a tornado, and we had a tornado south there towards Lerna. We had a couple of others then in the eastern part of Shelby County as well, near Stewartson and Strasburg. So that's where we're going to keep an eye on things with that particular cluster right there. And another little cell trying to get going here south and west of Effingham. We've got plenty of cameras that are in place to watch things with that. That's a look regionally here of what we've got. That tornado watch is for those counties in yellow, goes until 9 o'clock tonight. I still want to keep areas in that here. So Springfield towards Litchfield to the east. At this point, I think we're still in that risk. Going to have to just watch and make sure no more development forms in the back side there. But we're going to keep that threat in place for a little bit while longer here. I do want to go to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. Kevin, there you are. You're in the StormTracker there. Go ahead and let us know where you are and some of the conditions that you've been seeing.
All right, I'm currently traveling on US 36. I am basically between Atwood and Tuscola, heading east on US 36. Basically, just to my right is where we've got that severe thunderstorm that is coming into basically Moultrie County, into parts of Coles County, and eventually Douglas County there as well. So I'm going to be coming into Tuscola. I'm trying to get ahead of this here because I'm getting ready to get right into what's called the core of the storm. We're going to get a lot of heavy rainfall. You can see the dark skies off to my right. So literally off to my right is that storm that is lifting to the north and to the east. Boy, the winds are strong out here. Even before we've had any rain or storms, really kind of pushing the car, around the road. We've had these 50-mile-an-hour gusts. And so again, I'm just ahead of that storm that is moving to the northeast, going to be coming into Tuscola here. I'm going to be watching that little area down into Shelby County, just north of Stewartson, trying to do something there, getting a little interesting. So I'm just going to track this thing to the east along 36 and follow that as it moves into Douglas, Coles, eventually Edgar, and maybe southern Vermilion, maybe Champaign County as well. So we're watching. You can see some of the cameras here showing the ominous clouds that are out here tonight. And we'll continue to keep you up to date on how things are playing out here through the rest of this evening, guys. But again, we're definitely in that crucial time right now, Jacob, you've been talking about. Right now is the time, the little window where we've been concerned about the potential for tornadoes and severe weather. We'll send it back to you for now in the Storm Tracker. I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. We'll keep you up to date as this storm gets a little closer to us.
Hey, thanks so much for your report, Kevin. Of course, you're down there, and we've been watching all of these storms. I do want to real quick recap some of the severe weather reports that we've had here. I just got a really interesting one. That storm that is near Buffalo in eastern Sangamon County, had a friend text me and say that there is hail accumulating on Interstate 72 to the east of Springfield there, and that's with this little storm right there. He also said there's a number of cars that are in the ditch in that area, and look at that little core of hail. I don't think that hail is going to be the biggest hail we've seen, but there may be a lot of it in there. Illiopolis about to get some hail. That'll probably come between Mount Pulaski and Decatur towards Warrensburg and towards Latham, maybe even as far south and east as the Niantic area here. And so that's a heads up for southeastern Logan, northwestern Macon County with that chance for some of that large hail moving on into the area here with that cell. So that was interesting. We also had some reports, one northwest of Springfield, another down by Auburn, where some of those winds blew down power lines. I tend to think that some of those wind gusts have been non-thunderstorm related, and that also has been taking down some power lines. And so that's something that we're keeping an eye on here, where, as Kevin was saying, it's windy out there. Many of you have been noticing the wind as well, and that's been something that we are continuing to monitor here across the region. That's a look at radar right now. I think we're going to take a little bit of a break, and what we'll do here is we can just pick that full and head over there in just a second. But you can see right now, okay, perfect, thanks, Scott. You can see now there that radar area where we've got a number of those warnings. If a tornado warning is issued, and I don't have anything yet that is indicating that, but if there is one, we'll be right back here on TV. In the meantime, we're going to send it to break and have more news and weather updates for you coming up after this.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
All right, at this point right now, there are no active tornado warnings in central Illinois, but that may change very quickly here and could in the next 5 to 10 minutes. We're watching a couple of specific spots here where some activity is starting to increase a little bit more here. We're going to start north, work our way to the south here. First off, you can see this pink box here in northern McLean counties. That warning was canceled. That storm is now through Pontiac there and lifting to the north and east. There's been plenty of wind and blowing dust. I think that storm, as it moves to the north and east, is exiting our area. Not going to be a problem for us, but some folks still in the warning for the US 24 corridor. That'll be from Fairbury off to the west, maybe even clipping Forest and Chatsworth, but probably a lot of blowing dust up there is something that we'll watch. Further to the south there, Champaign County, a little bit of light shower and some blustery thunderstorms in the north side of the county. No warnings in the north of Champaign. We are watching this storm here, Chestnut and south and west of Clinton. That one actually brought some golf ball size hail reported in the Latham area. Moving to the north and east, I'm not so sure that it's going to last much longer. It's a very small storm, but it may be the front is outrunning it. It may be getting left behind, so we'll see what that does. I'm not going to leave my eyes off of it, but my concern may be getting a little lower over the next 30 minutes with that storm. We'll still keep an eye for the Clinton area. Further to the south, then, This is where I'm more interested in things here. Douglas County, southeastern Champaign County, eventually southern Vermilion County, northwestern Edgar County here. A cluster of storms is in place. There are two storms that catch my attention right now. One of them here is located near Newman and Camargo. This right here, it's going to be right over Murdoch. Starting to see some signs that rotation organizing a little bit. I don't think it's tornado warning coming yet for it, but it may end up being one of the storms that can flip the switch and get over the hill with that here. So we're going to watch that. Heading to the north and east, a heads up for Broadlands, Allerton, Seidel, and Archie. This storm right here is actually where we have Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty in the StormTracker right now, and we're going to check in with him. Hey, Kevin, I see you right now. Tell us more what you're seeing.
Yeah. Okay, I am right on that storm, right near Murdoch. I'm going to switch my camera over, and I'm gonna just turn here, and just give me a second here. I'm going to turn on this road, and a little bit of a lowering trying to happen right here. So hold on here, and I can kind of adjust the camera, but it's going to be to the right. It's going to be to the right of this tower that you see here. You can kind of see it right there. Okay, and so this is the area where we're trying to, take a look at this. This is the first clearing that I've been able to see, but definitely starting to see a little bit of a kind of a rising motion out of this. Again, I am right at Murdoch, just east of Murdoch, between Murdoch and Newman, and so we're starting to get a little bit of structure trying to show up on this storm here. So keeping an eye on it. I had to kind of punch through some of the really, really heavy rainfall and really strong winds, but starting to just kind of see something here. It's got my attention, so we're watching it carefully. Again, this is looking back to the north and east of my location. I was traveling east there on 36 towards Newman, but that's what I'm kind of watching there right now. I'll continue to keep you updated on that. I'm going to keep traveling to the east on 36, but that seems to be the area where there might be some rotation that is kind of happening. So Jacob, you can kind of see that, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. We can see that, and I would say the best thing for you is get east to 49 and head north there towards Allerton and Broadlands as quick as you can. We'll check back in with you later. That's one of the areas that we're suspicious of here as we watch things, and so that certainly is a concern for us moving forth. Let's head back to the radar. There are other areas that stand out to us as well here, and we're going to be looking here to the east of Effingham. Another severe thunderstorm warning for some of these storms. That's going to be from KZ south towards Moonshine into parts of Clark and Jasper and Crawford counties. That's going to carry towards Terre Haute. For the most part, I think that activity stays out of our area, but it's something that we have to watch pretty closely here in the near term. Other thing I want to do, if we can, we've got meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff in here. Hey, Seth, you've got something as well you want to talk about. Is that right?
I do, yes. And if we can somehow pull up my graphics here, I might be able to show everybody. We have got a dust advisory for those counties highlighted in the white. That would include just in the WCIA area. That'd be Ford and Iroquois County, as it looks like winds are starting to pick up. So might be seeing some blowing dust up there in the northeast corner of the area. Obviously, lots going on, but that is also something to keep in mind. Jacob, over to you.
All right, let's come back here and bring me back on camera if we can. A new tornado warning just issued for Coles County. That has happened now. We'll be in wall-to-wall coverage from here on out. That is the storm south of where Kevin is, and that's going to be really close to Charleston. So if we can, Seth, watch that Charleston camera closely here. And then what I'd like to do is get that in Weather Metrics 3 and then double box with Kevin in the StormTracker because we've got both of these storms. And so if we can do the 2x2x1, then that would be helpful to prepare for that. Tornado warning now for Coles County, and that's going to include areas from Charleston to the north and to the east. We're also going to be hopping on our severe weather coverage on digital platforms now. We'll welcome them in here momentarily. Douglas, Coles, and Edgar County tornado warning in effect now. This is including Charleston, Ashmore, Oakland, and Redmond. An area of weak circulation here near Charleston is lifting to the north and east. It's going to clip Newman. It's also going to include Redmond here. I think you can see that rotation a little bit better with some of those reds and greens in there. And we'll be heading eventually off towards Chrisman, areas to the north and west of Paris. This does include Paris in the area there, and that is something that we're watching, and so we're going to keep a very close eye on that. So in that triple box, again, in that top right box, if you can stick in Weather Metrics 3, Seth, add the Charleston camera in that, then I'd like to be able to watch that really closely here as we move on through. This is our first tornado warning of the day, and we welcome our viewers on digital platforms. We are now streaming on our coverage on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on our app. And Adam, if you can let the newsroom know as well, they're going to get some push alerts out for that. We've got the whole team in here 2 times in 1 week. what we're dealing with there, and that's what we're watching. So this particular storm is our first tornado warning of the day. You can see how there's nothing to the south and east of it there, a clear spot that's able to pull in some of that juice and instability that's there, and so that is concerning as it lifts off to the north and to the east, where we're going to be watching and keeping a very close eye on things here. As you can tell, otherwise, that's our only tornado warning. A red box means that this is not a confirmed tornado. Rather, we are seeing rotation evident on radar in that camera there. And if you can there, I think we've got the Springfield camera in that triple box. Weather Metrics 3, you'll have to use the screens, not the rundown. Just like you would, there you go, yep, that'll do that. And then we can bring that in because I want to keep a close eye on that Charleston camera. So you can see the top right is Springfield camera looking to the east. Storms are clearing past Springfield. Then we're going to see here, Kevin is on the bottom right. He's to the storm just to the north of that. And that's something that we're going to keep a close eye on here as we move on through. Are we having a little trouble getting that in? Let me try to get that in then.
And it won't let me unless the rundown's done.
Okay, let me try real fast here to stick that into Weather Metrics 3. Are you able to control the Charleston camera?
I don't know if we have it. It keeps saying stream expired, so I don't know if we even have connection to it at the moment.
Gotcha.
Actually, no, we do. It just popped up.
We do? Okay, cool. Let us then, I'm going to switch something here and fix that. Seth, while you're at it, let's pull the radar full here. And Seth, if you can also, just talk real quick about what you're seeing and some of the things that you've been covering.
Yeah, so essentially at the moment we just kind of have mostly discrete storms, and we've kind of just been watching up to this point to see how those would progress. Of course, we've got our first tornado warning there, just kind of on that storm in the east part of Coles County into Douglas County, eventually over into Edgar County as well. So we're just kind of watching to see as these storms move into a better environment, just kind of how they interact and the kind of developments that they make. And obviously we've got that tornado warning that's catching our eye at the moment, but also not to be forgotten down to our southeast parts of Jasper, Crawford, even into Clark County. Got another severe thunderstorm warning down there as well. Anytime you notice the kind of black outline boxes, that usually indicates 70+ mile-an-hour wind gust potential with these storms as well. So anywhere that you see those boxes, that's what we are dealing with there at the moment. And then we've got another severe thunderstorm warning up in the north part of Macon County into parts of DeWitt County. Just going to kind of zoom in on this tornado warned storm just to see what we can there on the inside of that one once we pull up velocity, just to track where things are. And you can kind of see just that broad center of rotation, just kind of south of Oakland there. Keeping an eye on that to see how that progresses here over time. Nothing jumping off the page just yet as far as rotation or tornadic activity on most of these storms, but definitely probably seeing a great deal of at least some lightning and some pretty strong winds as well. If Kevin's camera is any indication of that, we know that is going on for sure. But just kind of watching now that they're in the better environment to see how these are going to progress. Jacob, back over to you.
Perfect. I think we got that camera thing taken care of here. So we will bring that triple box up if we can. I think that's going to work right now because we want to keep our eyes to the storms here. Not only are we watching things here from the studio, you can see there that camera in the top right is the Charleston one. And it may be frozen. That may be what has happened because some of the wind that is out there today. We've had some power outages that have occurred from non-thunderstorm winds, and so that's been a concern for us. I'd like to, if we can, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. He's in the StormTracker there. Kevin, if you can hear us, I know you're moving east on US 36 right now. You're watching that storm to the north, but are you thinking maybe that southern storm might be something you're going to look at a little bit closer here?
Yeah, I'm probably going to abandon that northern storm and attempt to try to get ahead of this one that's coming up here from basically right behind me. So I'm at 36 and 49 here. I'm between Newman and Hume, and so I'm going to be at the very kind of middle end of that polygon of that tornado warning. And so I'm going to watch that storm kind of lift back to the north and east there, and I'm starting, you can actually see some clearing out ahead of me. So I'm going to be able to kind of have a view where I can look back into that cell here at about probably, 5 minutes or so. So I would definitely check back here with me because I'm going to have a pretty good view of it. But I'm just trying to get back ahead of that. So I've kind of abandoned kind of that northern cell there. I mean, I'm just trying to stay ahead of it. It's such a large cell there with tons of heavy rainfall. I got to say the winds in it were really whipping the car around as I was traveling there on US 36. So, all right, guys, I'll send it back to you for now, but I'm going to get ahead of this and should have a clear view. I'm going to be looking right southwest into that storm here, about 5 or so minutes. So, in the StormTracker for right now, as we're in the tornado warning polygon in Edgar County, we'll continue to keep you updated on this. We'll send it back to you for now.
Hey, thanks so much, Kevin. Appreciate your report on the spot there, and we continue to watch that storm. I will say, while Kevin is leaving that northern storm that's now near Broadlands, I still think we need to keep a close eye on that here. Broadlands, Allerton to the north and 49 towards Homer. Eventually we get to Sidell and Fairmount, Jamaica, Indianola, parts of rural southwestern Vermilion County. Still keep an eye out here, and we'll be watching for you. We see the latest update just came on in. Maybe there's a little bit of rotation trying. More than likely, I think there's some strong winds in that area moving into parts of southern Vermilion County. We're likely to see, I think, a new severe thunderstorm warning come out for areas up in that direction here before long. Let's drop back to our tornado warned storm. Growing more concerned here by the minute as we watch that here. Oakland, the time is running out here for you. There's likely some large hail in this storm here as it moves to the north and east. It's going to be Oakland, then Brockton and Borton. It'll cross 133 really close, if not just west of Oakland. If you know anyone in Oakland or Hinesboro area, send them a text. Let them know, hey, WCIA is on the air, and we're keeping you covered with things here. This is right now not a confirmed tornado warning, but the way things are moving, I see that rotation right on the southwest side of Oakland there, picking up more and more. It's in the right spot. If we want something to cause some issues, that certainly is the storm that we'll keep an eye on as it moves on through. And so Oakland, Brockton, I'm going to include Newman and Hume on that. We're going to hold off on Chrisman. Chrisman, you're downstream, though. This is going to eventually move towards Chrisman, Ridge Farm, Georgetown, and may clip other parts of southeastern Vermilion County towards Indianola. But you can see that area of rotation that shows up, those greens and reds coming together. What that is a velocity couplet, and when we're watching things here, sometimes that green and red, when they're touching, is an indication that winds are moving in a circular direction, and so that's something that's certainly we're going to be keeping our eye on. I don't want to lose sight on anywhere else here at this point. Obviously, the tornado warning is our greatest concern, but we've still got a couple of other active warnings out there. Our storm up in the Pontiac area, we did get a new severe thunderstorm warning added for far northern Ford and northwestern Iroquois counties. We have a severe thunderstorm warning still in the Clinton area in DeWitt County. I've got some folks on our social media saying we've got some hail in that area. We also have had plenty of hail reports with that storm further to the south and west. Looking okay for Douglas County if you're to the west of Tuscola, west of I-57 for the moment, but this storm here is the one that may be the one that causes some issues for us, and then there's some storms further down towards I-70 here across the region. Let's come on in back to our tornado warned storm. It's moving at a decent clip. Seth, do you have a speed that you've seen on that? To me, it seems like it's picking up progress pretty good.
Let's take a look here at the most recent report, and we'll give it a second here as it loads. Actually, we've just got a confirmation, it looks like.
They just added now confirmed tornado in the Oakland area from this storm as it moves on through. This is now a confirmed tornado in the Oakland area from this storm as it's moving on through. Radar has confirmed that tornado moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. If you're in Oakland, the time is up here, and we'll come in on our radar. There's that tight couplet showing up here, crossing 133 near or just west of Oakland. As we move on forth, then I'm going to bring up our debris detector, and perhaps that's what they're seeing is that maybe some of the debris. I mean, that's been there for a little while here. To me, it seems like maybe it's right close to. I'm not sure your thoughts on that, Seth, but there is maybe something that's showing up, and if we look at that, I'll bring back to the velocity. It's in the neighborhood there. So at this point, the National Weather Service is treating this as a confirmed tornado now. Northeastern Coles, southeastern Douglas County in the Oakland area. Oakland, your time is up. Brockton, we're considering you. Redmond, heads up for you. Newman and Hume, heads up for you as well as this storm moves to the north and east at 45 miles an hour. At this point, it is just about to be 5 o'clock here. WCIA 3 News at 5 o'clock starts now, and the news is weather. With us now, we've got team coverage for you. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty in the StormTracker. He is approaching this storm in the Oakland area now. We've got meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff in here. He's going to give us a timing here in just a second. And Adam Sherwinski, also in the building, is moving around and checking out digital and getting reports for us from this tornado-warned storm, confirmed tornado, according to the National Weather Service, in the Oakland area. First off, let's go to Kevin, get another check-in from Kevin here. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty, hey, let us know where you are and what you're seeing in that area. Kevin?
I'm between Hume and Metcalf. Here, looking right into that storm, okay? And so this is where we would have something here. As I'm looking to the south and west, okay, Oakland is to my southwest here, but there is definitely kind of a lowering that's trying to show up here, and I'm just gonna kind of move, adjust the StormTracker here a little bit so you can kind of get another view of kind of the whole storm. You can kind of see the structure of it here, and just kind of that lowering that's kind of right there. We're going to watch this lift basically to the north and to the east in our general direction. And so I'm looking right into this. And so right here, maybe I'm going to see if that's something there, kind of zooming in on this to try to get a view. But that would be the area that we would potentially have something. So again, guys, really watching that carefully, and that just to my south and west as this storm lifts right here. It's going to cross over 36, which I'm on, and again, just kind of keeping an eye on things. Let me kind of readjust, and I'll come back to you in just a second, Jacob.
Thank you, Kevin here. We are keeping an eye on that and watching things. First off, we've got Kevin there now, and you can see our camera in Danville, kind of upstream from that. Kevin's going to reposition. I wanted to send it over to Seth real quick to update us more on what he's seeing. He's got a track for it, where the storm is heading, because we want to keep folks safe ahead of this. Seth, what have you got?
Yeah, again, Jacob, as you mentioned, this storm moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. We've just kind of traced the path of where that rotation is, northeast a little bit, to keep an eye on some of the folks in the path of this. Obviously, the Oakland area needs to be where they need to be exactly right now. Places in the path, we've got Brockton, maybe about 5 or so minutes away. Keep an eye there. Hume, 5:17 is when the storm is arriving. If you see your town anywhere on this list, now is the time to start to head to your shelter and get prepared, because this storm is within about 15 minutes at the very least away from you. Metcalf at 5:20, and then into parts of Crispin potentially closer to 5:30. And just some reminders, if you are in the path of a tornado warning, of course, proceed to your safe place. If you're in a mobile home, if you have time, you got to get out of those mobile homes, because storms like this are going to do some pretty good damage to it. Do not find yourself in your car. And remember, in, down, up, that means get inside, get as far down in your building as you possibly can, and cover up as much as you can. And of course, stay inside until you hear Jacob give you the all clear there on that storm moving on through. And of course, continue to keep an update there on the coverage of everything. So Jacob, those are some of the towns in the path. Back over to you.
Yeah, and while you, Seth, are talking about that tornado warning where you are, we should probably give a little bit of a heads up here for those that are maybe downstream from this. And this conversation is now for far northeastern Edgar County and southern Vermilion County. We might be a half an hour or so from a potential extension from this here. Again, as he was saying, leave your mobile home, seek shelter, charge your phone. We're on our digital platforms right now, and so that's a way that you can stay connected. Pull up your phone, turn your TV volume up, head to your safe spot here, and we're streaming also on our WCIA 3 weather app. This is going to be for places like Ridge Farm, Georgetown. We're going to include Crispin on that. Indianola, I'm going to put in there. Seidel, I'll put you in there as well. And depending on where this heads, then anywhere on US 36 from Crispin to the west, it might be somewhere else that we have. And so that's where we're going to keep a very close eye on things here. Kevin's out there now. He's kind of getting set up, and it looks pretty ominous. We'll get a report from him here in a second. I do want to mention, though, just kind of other things here. While the tornado deserves our attention, and rightfully so, I love a good bit of good news here. We can call the all clear for the severe weather threat now for Logan, Menard, and Sangamon, and Fayette counties here. That tornado watch has been cut back for some of our counties. Still have Christian County in it. Still have Macon and Shelby County in it. I feel better about where you're sitting. I think the main risk is to the east, but we're going to keep that watch as kind of our proxy for that here with things moving on through. Real quick, do you want to get into DeWitt County here? I've had a number of folks saying in DeWitt County there's been some hail in Clinton and Farmers City. This here is between Farmers City and Leroy. To me, this stands out as a wind potential and will carry it to the north and east. It's going to be on the 136 exit at the Empire exit on 74 and between basically Leroy and Farmers City. Moving to the east-northeast, Moraine View State Park sits up here, probably just south of that, but Aerosmith, Saybrook, Bellflower, and eventually Gibson City, likely going to have some at least strong straight line winds coming from that here. You can kind of see that backward C shape here. That's winds that are blowing out. So I don't think that there's necessarily a tornado threat with that, but we could easily get some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds heading in that general direction. That may even include northern Champaign County with a potential extension to the warning. So did just want to give a heads up to those areas with that. Then we check up to the north, northern Livingston, Ford, Iroquois County. You're good. Those storms are moving moving into Kankakee County, heading up that way. There is a tornado warning in the Chicago metro. The south side there looks like Joliet to the east. That's out of our coverage area, but of note in that general direction. And then we've got this supercell thunderstorm right here in Coles County. Oakland, it's now just to your northeast. Bushton, Charleston, you're all clear. Let's keep Oakland, eyes on that. Brockton, Newman, you're next. And Metcalf, Chrisman, Seidel, up towards Georgetown, Ridge. You're kind of downstream from this as it moves off to the north and east, something we want to keep a really close eye on. Let's give it back to Kevin. If he's able, maybe he's still adjusting things there, kind of getting a view on what he's looking at.
I'm here.
He's in the area. There you are, Kevin. You're in the area of this storm, down by Brockton there. You've been playing around with the focus. What are you seeing? What's going on with our tornado warning there?
Well, I'll tell you, it's really windy here, and so I'm just kind of east of that line, and you can follow this as I kind of pan around, okay, and you can see the dark skies and kind of the lowering that's along here where we might actually have some inflow into this storm. And so this is looking back to the south and west, and again, just trying to give you guys a little bit of a view of kind of what I'm seeing here. And I just can tell you, it is so windy and dark skies. We've seen some lightning strikes here, but very ominous looking clouds, and just looking for any kind of a lowering all the way to the ground. But this is going to be crossing US 36 here before too long, where they had that confirmed tornado. And so this is the area that we're definitely kind of concerned about right now, and just kind of watching to see if we see anything a little bit closer to the ground. But as you can see here, this storm that stretches all the way, you can almost kind of pick out kind of that deck of clouds that's right there that stretches all the way back here to my south and west. So I'm going to send it back to you here for right now, Jacob. I'm going to kind of readjust again, but this is the area of concern that is heading in our direction along 36. So definitely take shelter if you're out here right now, because it does not look good in our location here.
All right, thanks so much for that report, Kevin. We'll keep checking in with you. And I did notice, those clouds are low. They're sitting there. Hard to tell. A lot of you have sent us photos and been asking about that haze that's in the sky, some of that dust there today. That dust originated from dust storms down in New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, was lifted our direction. And so that is making things a little murkier, a little bit more hazy here for us as we move on through. Kevin's location right now, he's just east of Hume towards Metcalf. We're watching Brockton. We're watching Hume. We're watching Newman. We're watching Metcalf for this this potential tornado moving on through. It's been reported by radar as potentially being on the ground. I haven't seen any official reports of that being the case. I haven't seen any reports of it yet being down with damage or anything like that, but that certainly is something that we're going to have to watch and keep an eye on. I think this is going to be north of Brockton here, and we'll pull the radar up. It's going to be moving pretty close to me. There's Brockton. I think this is going to be near Payne Cemetery and eventually moving towards Hume and Metcalf. Kevin's right up here with his location, and so we'll watch very closely as that moves in that general direction. I'll throw the velocity on here and show you again. You kind of see these reds and greens in here. There certainly is something that is rotating in here. It might not be all that strong, but it certainly is there, and that's why this tornado warning has came out for us as we've been watching a close eye for any of those reports. I have a friend, Nick, in the, let's see here, Nick is saying that he's got there's been some strong rotation from the Oakland area. He did not see a touchdown. He's a buddy of mine down there. It does look like that's about all I've had so far. Have you at all, Seth or Adam, seen any reports, anything like that?
Not yet, no.
So far, just seeing just some hail reports in general, so nothing rotation-based or tornadic.
And so that's maybe some good news here. The radar indicated that maybe it was, in fact, on the ground. I'm not totally convinced, and right now I'm not totally convinced if it even was on the ground. It's still down now. There certainly is something going on in this area, but that may be where we continue to, we're talking at this point, the radar is catching the storm at 7,000 feet, and that beam is rather high, so we don't get the best look at things, but that's why we've got team coverage here with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty out in the StormTracker, and we've got our sky cams for that area. Just did get an extension of the severe thunderstorm warning, and I'll pop that up with radar. This is that supercell thunderstorm moving to the north and east. That severe thunderstorm warning issued ahead of it at this point. I'm sure right now the National Weather Service is thinking, do we issue another tornado warning. Let's go ahead and issue the severe thunderstorm warning first here. And that's going to include places we were talking about. Chrisman, Georgetown, Ridge Farm. It'll carry it even further north, Westville, Danville, even north of Danville towards the airport as the storm moves on through. I'm not sure the storm will get much further north of Danville there, but there is some wind, likely even with these light rain showers in the Oakwood and Danville area. The tornadic part, if that were to continue, to me, seems to be 150 south of the Danville area, and so we'll be watching places south and east of Sidell, south and east of Indianola, south and east of Danville as this carries off to the north and to the east here. Coles County EMA says they are going to be sending some crews out to investigate, see if there's any damage earlier in the Bushton, Rardon, and Oakland areas. It sounds like if they're sending some guys to investigate, maybe they haven't had any reports, but we're going to investigate and try and find things out like that there. So that is certainly something worth mentioning here. Top right of your screen, you see the Danville camera now, really ominous. The storm that just south and west of town might have some strong winds. I'm not concerned about tornado potential in Danville proper at this point. We're more worried where Kevin is down south there, and Kevin's there in the StormTracker. That looks a lot better there, Kevin, with your picture. Let's go ahead and send it back to Kevin. And Kevin, what are you seeing, and what's your latest update for us from the tornado warning?
Yeah, still here just watching this storm here, and so this is kind of the back edge there where we would be kind of be looking for something. I just want to show you the whole thing because you can see some of the structure to this thing, and you can see just how much darker the skies are. And so pan back around, a lot of times we kind of look towards, you know, the rain-free base here on the backside where there might be some of that rotation. I'm definitely getting some rising motion. There's a little bit of that rising motion right there in that location that we're looking at. And again, I apologize if my mic has got a lot of wind because obviously it's really windy. But that's the area that we'd be kind of watching for as the storm comes in. I'm just starting to get some kind of a colder wind that is kicking up here. But again, this is still looking pretty ominous. You're going to have, what I'm getting is essentially the downdraft here and some really strong winds on the leading edge of this here. They're going to be kind of picking up. So I'm going to have to get ahead of this here before too long, as you can see, as the storm here is starting to get a little bit closer to me. But the area of concern here on the backside, I don't see anything that's down there right now, but it is close. It's really close, guys. Other chasers, I've seen several other chasers that are out here with us as well along this same road. This is a rural country road out here, but this is the area where we would have something, and I'm keeping an eye on it. We've got the camera trained right on it for you guys, but you can see the whole system here obviously does not look like something you want to mess with, right? So take your shelter, get down there right now just in case this thing decides to produce. Again, we are in the prime spot where something could occur. I'm seeing a little bit of that rotation here. I gotta be honest with you, this area right here, just watching this carefully, guys, is about to come right over the top of us. And look how low this area is right here. You see some of that rising motion that's kind of happening? And a little bit of that is rotating if you look close. Okay, I'm going to try to keep the camera as steady as I can, but that's pretty low to the ground. Okay, so this is right on the area that we are concerned about. Okay, so all right, so here's the thing. I'm going to have to reposition my location now here because this thing's about to catch up to me along this road, as you can see. So I'm going to throw it back to you for now, but this is the storm. We're giving the live view of it. That's the area of concern, and it is time for me to book it and get out of here.
All right, thanks for that, Kevin, for that report. We'll keep an eye on you here. We also want to bring the Champaign camera up if we can. And Seth, we've had some viewers that have been messaging about rainbows. Is that right? Have you seen that at all in our Champaign camera? Yeah,
I've not been able to find any on the camera. I know we had one submitted at one point, but you can just even see on the camera. Let me see if I can get it pulled up here on my station over here. We can just kind of take a glance. This is looking off to the east, and this one, once I get it booted in here.
That's Danville there.
This one, there we go. You can see a definite dark blue sky. So if there is kind of that rainbow action going on, you have to have your back to the sun. It's going to be against that very dark backdrop. It's probably going to stick out there very well. That's that storm. This is more looking closer to the Danville area, so not exactly in the tornado-warned portion of that storm, but plenty of rain and probably some hail in there as well. That's the view from Champaign looking off to the east right now. So if you've got any rainbows out there, that's probably the direction to be looking for it.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on those cameras. I would like to as well start to watch that Gibson City camera a little bit more, and maybe we can turn one of our Champaign cameras north. This storm here just got a report of some pea-sized hail in Ellsworth. That shape to me stands out as potentially some strong winds, and so we may see a warning come for Ford County, maybe even Livingston County for some straight-line winds heading that direction. Heads up there for Sibley, Gibson City, even up to Fairbury, Forest, Strawn, potentially further to the north and east along and north of Illinois 54 there towards Melvin, Roberts, and up into the panhandle of Ford County. So we'll keep an eye on that here, but you kind of see that backward shape. When I bring up the wind velocity, nothing stands out to me with this as rotating, but I certainly think that backward C shape shows some strong winds heading in that general direction. So we'll keep an eye on that camera as we move on through. Right now we can see in the boxes on your screen in Champaign on that top right one. I'll flip that one to Gibson City now just so we can take a peek and look at that. And then on the bottom right is Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. He is in that tornado-warned storm down in parts of Edgar and Coles and Douglas County, and so that is something that we're keeping an eye on here. Real quick, Seth, if you can take over, do a little radar analysis. I'm just getting a phone call, and I want to take this one, and maybe some information for me. So, Seth, we'll take Max 1 full screen, let you talk for a minute, and I'll be back here in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jacob. So what I'm going to do here for a little bit is just kind of go into each of these individual storms, starting, of course, with our tornado-warned one. And what I'm going to do here, actually, let me back out and reset, then go back in here so I can put up my velocity. So what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of take a look at the last 30 minutes or so on our velocity product and just kind of show you what's happening here. And we'll kind of highlight it right in here so you can kind of see where that rotation started off in Oakland, now moving off to the east a little bit. We're kind of watching it. Hasn't exactly necessarily pulsed up, but hasn't really come down too much in the last few scans. So continuing to just monitor that. Aside from that, you see kind of just these brighter colors as we flip on over to the Indianapolis radar now. Nothing different there other than the colors just are inverted. The red, the dark red outside of Georgetown there might be indicating some strong winds moving on into town. So that is also another thing that velocity helps us out with, is watching those strong winds move on through. Additionally, just kind of scanning across the rest of the area, it looks like most of the rest of these don't really jump off the page, not seeing a whole lot in the way of any kind of rotation or intense winds. And of course, those are kind of in the corners of the area anyway, down here into the Newton and Robinson area as well. So just kind of keep an eye on everything as a whole. Not a whole lot happening outside of just that tornado-warned storm, but as mentioned earlier, there's kind of that dust advisory up here across the north as well. So just kind of some dry land as some strong winds move on up into the northeast corner of the area too, causing some different issues, in this case reduced visibility. So definitely want to stay safe up that direction. But at the moment, Jacob, just kind of keep an eye on that storm across now heading soon into Edgar County. What are your thoughts there on the latest of that?
Yeah, kind of looking at it here, our initial storm that's been tornado warned is starting to outrun the tornado warning polygon, and so the National Weather Service is going to make a decision here. Is that going to be a new tornado warning, or are they going to let the severe thunderstorm warning carry? But then we've got that storm that's behind it there, and so that's where we got to watch here. This next one coming on in, just keep an eye on it, south and west of Oakland. If you can bring me on, please, that'd be great. And this storm here, kind of behind it, there's open, clear air to the south and east, so still maybe some instability that storm can feed on, so we'll watch it. Nothing concerning. The tornado warning storm is this one right here, but again, see how that's moved out of that pink polygon? Now it's a severe thunderstorm warning. I think that tornado warning goes until 5:30, did it, or 5? Do we have a time in that by chance? Do you remember, Seth?
11 minutes left, so about 5:30.
5:30. So we'll ride it out here, but if the National Weather Service does cancel the tornado warning, then what we'll do is we'll toss to a commercial break. Brandon Moran is in here. He may do a little bit of news. We'll kind of see how things go. We may just carry this through 5:30. We'll kind of assess what's going on here and make that decision on the fly, but just letting folks in the back know kind of what we're thinking here with how things are progressing. I will say, just got a call, former WCIA intern Lucy Crable. She's down in the Oakland area. She said that earlier she had some family that had spotted a funnel cloud with that, but didn't have any confirmed tornado from their vantage point. So that's what I took that phone call for. Appreciate her, our viewers. In fact, there goes that tornado warning. They just dropped it and canceled it there. So no more tornado warning in effect here for Douglas, Edgar, or Coles County. It has been dropped. We're now looking at a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Vermilion and northern Edgar County, including Chrisman, Sidell, Georgetown, Jamaica, even up into Danville there. We're going to maybe just ride this out for a little bit. And Seth, I'll let you kind of cover some storm reports here in a bit. I think we may just take the 5 o'clock show. Brandon saying we may just take that there. Looking at radar here, there is still some broad rotation within this storm. That stands out to me. Nothing stands out as imminent or concerning with that. But we're going to watch that closely. We can sometimes see maybe things spin up a little bit more, and that could be something that we're just going to monitor for the next 5-10 minutes, because we want to continue to think that Danville area, Georgetown, Westville, up towards Tilton, Ridge Farm, where this is heading. Looks like to me, Fairmount, Sidell, Jamaica, perhaps the strongest winds are now moving past you here. But as this moves across the Indianola area, I bet it's a rough time down in Indianola from that particular storm. And so we will watch that really closely here. I saw a new severe thunderstorm warning just pop up. Let me make sure I've got my ducks in a row here. That's that Livingston Ford County one here, where they have included, we kind of mentioned here, 60-mile-an-hour winds, maybe some small hail with both of those. We've got McLean County, the eastern part of the county, and then we've got Livingston and Ford County added to that here. And that's going to be for 60-mile-an-hour wind. Hail smaller than quarters expected. It's mainly for the wind, and that does stand out to me. Maybe we need to check in on our Gibson City camera, so why don't we switch Weather Metrics 3 here. I'll just pop that back over to, well, we got it up as Gibson City there. Eventually that storm's going to move on through. I think the strongest wind is probably going to be more of a Sibley issue in Ford County. I don't think there's going to be a tornado threat with this storm moving that way, but if you get 60-mile-an-hour winds, that can still cause some problems there. And Gibson City, still in that warning. Elliott, Garber, Guthrie, we've got Melvin, Sibley, up towards Roberts, and eventually north towards Piper City in that severe thunderstorm warning there. And so that is something that we'll keep an eye on here with that storm moving to the north and to the east. Let's reset here. To me at this point, if something is going to happen, I think it's that southern Vermilion County. Perhaps, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but we could scrape through, Seth, I'm not sure your thoughts. If we can get this line of storms out here, that's good news. Real fine line that we're watching here. Seth, do you kind of agree with that thought process?
Yes, excuse me, Jacob. The trajectory of those storms hopefully kind of making its way off to the east, just because as they pass on through, and with any kind of potential storms extending off the south, they're just kind of taking the instability with them a little bit. On the kind of west side of these storms, we actually have some much more cooler, more stable air. So if we could just kind of get these things to push off to the east just a little extra there, kind of get it over into the Indiana area, then our threat kind of comes down. Can't rule out some of these storms here on the backside, and obviously things are going to stay windy regardless of any sort of warnings. But I would completely agree. If that line just kind of moves off to the east without too much more action happening, I think that is definitely what we are hoping happens here soon.
It's been really weird because we've been dealing with a dry line today. Typically with dry lines, you expect that to be Texas, Oklahoma. Yeah, Adam's talking about that. We're kind of like, dry lines are pretty strong. That tells you how strong a system is. What that dry line is, it's just like a cold front. But instead of having warm and cold air, you've got humid and dry air in place, and so it's been moving in, and that's something where sometimes we have to watch things pretty closely with that. I am kind of keeping my eye on that southern storm here. We see those storms looking more individual. You know, there's a storm here. We've got the next storm up in Vermilion County. That lends to that tornado threat perhaps being a little bit higher with that. The storm further north, more of a backward sea, that's a wind threat into Ford, Livingston, perhaps eventually Iroquois County. There is in the far northern part of Iroquois County, north of Clifton, up by Chabans. The Case's gas station there is a great stop on your way to Chicago there, and that's going to include Kankakee. There's probably some really strong winds and perhaps maybe something up that way. So Clifton, Chabans, we're going to watch pretty closely here. I think that's moving north and east, so very small window of opportunity there as well. Adam, you got something?
We just got from one of our producers that we are hearing a double audio from Jacob. This is our morning producer. He's watching on the WCIA news app. So double audio, and that's just one of the things you might have to watch out for. So just letting you know.
That's probably because we have this right here. We'll turn that off, and we're just running the program feed there. And so that should be fixed now, I think. Thanks for our producers kind of watching to make sure that's good. That's that storm to the north we were just talking about here, and keeping an eye on things. So we got about 5 minutes, so a little bit less than that. And that's something that we'll continue to check. I do want to real quick, let's go ahead. I'm going to bring that Skycam full here and do a quick check in Gibson City. And it looks like I have broken it. But I'm going to look and see. There may be some dust that's trying to blow ahead of there. And so let's see here, because that storm is getting close to Gibson City there. So we'll see that, I think, here coming up on Max 2 in a second. Looks like to the left there on the screen, you kind of see that faded murky, kind of, it almost looks hazy, I'd say. Wouldn't you agree, Seth? That haziness is that dust, I think, that's been kicked up.
Kind of almost just got that kind of milky, smoky look. And if we want to pull up Max 1 graphics here just real quick, looking at visibility across the area, definitely a noticeable difference in the northeast corner of the area. So probably seeing some of that drier air kind of leading to some of that dust being tossed around up that direction. So yeah, kind of had that look to it all day. Just very, very ominous here for central Illinois to see kind of the dust-filled air, almost the red sky at one point in time, something we don't see all too often. But yes, it looks like the visibility on our local stations is definitely reflecting the possibility of some of that blowing dust being here somewhere in the area as well. So yeah, we're not just watching the storms, Jacob, but lots of other stuff going on here too that we typically don't see in central Illinois.
All right, so yeah, that blowing dust advisory that's been up there has been an issue as well. Okay, Kevin's here now. We want to go back to Kevin down there in the StormTracker. You're on that storm still that's moving into southern Vermilion County, I think, Kevin. What's the latest update you have for us?
Yeah, so I was still on 36 there and going east there towards Chrisman. I actually turned back around to head actually back west there just to kind of watch that other little cell that's down there, basically where we had the rotation earlier with the previous cell that came through. So I'm going to be looking back towards the area once again, and then that cell that's down there just to the basically coming into Newman there. So I'm just kind of making my way back in that direction to see if there's anything there, but again, not seeing a whole lot. But that storm up there in Vermilion County is still looking pretty good. That's coming through kind of Georgetown and Ridge Farm right now, but definitely it's a little bit colder out here. Our temperature has definitely fallen back down into the low 60s. So again, just watching, there's a lot, if you look out there, there's actually a lot of this kind of lowering that you'll see of those clouds, but this is not of something that is too much of a concern, at least at this point. But we've got our eyes on it, and we're keeping an eye on things here for you tonight. And just watch, like you said, Jacob, I think that if we can just get this little back edge to come through, we're going to be done with this, and hopefully can kind of go through, like you said, unscathed for the most part. I've heard about a couple of wind damage reports and a few wind gusts out there, possibly a power pole down up around Fisher by a banks up there. So that's kind of what we're looking at here right now, guys. We'll continue to keep you updated on this. I know you guys are kind of wrapping up here on the newscast, but obviously if we don't have any other warnings and whatnot, we'll probably throw it back to national news. Things here. So I'll send it back to Jacob for now. Let you guys kind of analyze things. Again, I'm just watching this storm that's back out here to my south and west, and that's kind of the view of it. Obviously doesn't look as ominous as the last one did, but we'll continue to keep you updated and let you know if we see anything else.
Sounds good, Kevin. Real quick, what I want to do is just give a last heads up here. Kind of watching that storm near Gibson City, right northwest of town there. Maybe some issues with that. What we're going to do is we're going to keep our coverage moving on digital platforms. We'll go to CBS National News here, and that will wrap things up for us on TV at this point. I'll have another update at 6. In the meantime, join us on digital platforms as we continue to move these storms, and we'll be back if necessary.